when your heart's not open. You're so consumed with how much you get. You waste your time with hate and regret. You're broken when your heart's not open.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brett Keane from God TV Radio. Make sure you check out my website, godtvradio.com. I have with me today The Amazing Atheist. Make sure that you go to his channel as well as Drunken Peasants. And I believe there's something called DP Clips to go subscribe and comment and rate to.
Thank you, Brett. Yeah, all that's accurate.
Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I take that as a hint. Before starting the interview, I want to thank you for keeping your agreement, and I also want to thank you for the things that you did for the Keane family upon having us on the show. I also want to remind you that I sat through 7 Drunken Peasants show answering the questions of 4 guys at the same time for several hours. Will we be able to sit through an hour at the minimum of your questions without running out or having technical problems?
I mean, I don't know if there's going to be technical problems, but I guess I could give you an hour.
Okay. At minimum, at least. All right.
Sure.
All right. I noticed just recently you uploaded a video. Apparently you've been false DMCA'd by Tommy Sotomayor, and rightfully so. You and Scotty were very angry. You were irritated about this process. Everybody would be. My question for you is, a while back, you said that you were also interested in suing the Encyclopedia Dramatica, which I would have supported you for that. Hell, I would have become a Patreon to stand behind you on this over art and poems without permission. What became of that?
Well, you know, Encyclopedia Dramatica locates its servers in a country where it's very difficult to actually sue them. It's pretty much impossible, actually. And, you know, I don't really hold the same attitudes towards that anymore. I mean, I was pretty naive thinking I could sue Encyclopedia Dramatica. But as far as Tommy is concerned, I don't think it's very naive at all to think we have a case against him. You know, if he had just flagged the video, maybe, you know, we could just have a dispute and, you know, YouTube could decide whether or not we were in the right or he was in the right. And I would be more than willing to abide by YouTube's decision in that matter. But the fact is that he used the DMCA specifically so that he could have the channel have a strike and get the video taken down. And, you know, that to me is kind of scummy because it's not the real motive behind why he did it. You know, the real motive behind why he did it is because he doesn't like, you know, us making fun of him. It had nothing to do with protecting some copyright. We did not violate his copyright. We barely showed any of what he was doing. We went to his stream. We talked over him. He was muted most of the time. We were showing the entire YouTube page, not just his stream. We were showing what the chat was doing. And we were commenting amongst ourselves, you know. And if he wanted to say that we harassed him or something like that, then I think, you know, we could, you know, maybe he could make a case for that. But to say that we violated his copyright, I don't think he has a case there. And that's why we probably will move forward on a lawsuit. I was just actually looking for lawyers. We started this interview.
Okay. All right. I was curious about something. I noticed that you got an award for hitting the 1 million mark on subscriptions, and I was curious, why just do Drunken Peasants through YouTube? Why not go like a syndicate or on television or cable?
I don't necessarily have the connections to get it on cable. As far as, I mean, YouTube goes, I mean, YouTube is a good platform. You know, if we lost YouTube as a platform for the Drunken Peasants, I honestly feel like there are several other platforms we could use that are available to us. that might even be more lucrative than YouTube, honestly. But for now, I think YouTube is our home, and we'll stay there for as long as we're able to. I feel pretty confident that we can beat Tommy in this dispute. So I'm really not too concerned about it. But even if he does win, and then we'll just have to get our streaming privileges back in 3 months or whatever it takes. Until then, we'll figure out some alternate method of content delivery, probably just uploading pre-recorded episodes, since we still have that ability. But I don't know. It's kind of, there's a few things that are up in the air right now. We haven't really sat down as a group and discussed it, but that's pretty much what's going on at the moment.
All right. I've noticed you treat things like a business, especially with what you're doing, and I can appreciate and respect that. But I've noticed that you try to stay away from certain type of people out there in order to not stain yourself, which any good business person would do. Are you aware that the YouTuber that you had on your show yesterday alongside me, Tommy from the Bronx, he ended up making a video stating that he moved his residence due to this. This was his statement. There are too many niggers around here. Forget about it.
I don't know whether Tommy is saying that in jest or in earnest. I didn't see the clip you're talking about. But my point of view is that Tommy's opinions are his own. My opinions are my own. I'm kind of careful about who we associate with, I guess. But at the same time, I'm here doing an interview with you, and we don't have the highest opinion of each other all the time, Brett. I like Tommy. Tommy's always been a good guy to me. I've never seen him do anything that I thought was racist. People who have come to meetups, and Tommy's been there, and he's, hung out with them just like everybody else. I never saw him be like, ugh, these black people talking to me or whatever. I don't really buy that he's some virulent racist. He probably just said it for shock value. I mean, a lot of people out there say things for shock value on the internet. You and I both understand that, I think.
I think we do. I think that Tommy's got a lot of good things about him. I just was curious if you knew about this. This is a public video you'd put out there.
I wasn't aware of it, but, I guess I'll maybe check it out in the future. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see what you're talking about before I could really comment on it.
Okay. This question's a little bit more personal. Are you a masochist? Are you turned on when people are mean to you?
I am a sadomasochist, in a very consensual sense. I'm not going to go out and hurt someone against their will, or have someone hurt me that doesn't, it's about entering into some, an understanding between two people, and, people have these predilections and have for pretty much all of human history. Inflicting pain. I enjoy having pain inflicted upon me. I don't view pain as an inherently negative thing. I think it's just part of life, and that, like any other aspect of life, it can be celebrated.
Okay. All right. Do you believe, I have noticed that you said things like this on Twitter as well as some chat programs. Do you believe that you are a sociopath, mentally ill in some way, or have you ever received therapy or counseling? And I know that's personal. You can actually pass if you want to.
I don't see any reason to pass on any questions. But as far as I'm not a sociopath. I have empathy for human beings. Certain traits associated with antisocial personality disorders. I don't necessarily. I'm kind of one of these people, and I'm not unusual, I don't think, in this regard, but maybe I am. I don't feel very strong emotional connections to strangers. If I am walking around and I see a person, like let's say I'm at a movie theater and we're waiting in line to get popcorn and someone keels over and starts clutching their heart and they're having a heart attack. I mean, I'm probably, I'm not going to be happy that that's happening to that person, but I'm probably not going to be too distressed about it either. Maybe that. Obviously, if it's someone I know or care about, I'm going to feel the same way as anyone else. And I try to have an intellectual in the situations. I try to put myself in that person's shoes, and Christ is actually a fairly good rule for conducting yourself. Not 100%, but often. Sorry, my computer screen went black for a second there. I guess it was just going into hibernation or something. But I feel like the idea that you treat others the way you want to be treated, and you look at life through the perspective of other people and try to think about how they're feeling and consider that, and deal with them in the way that you would want to be dealt with, rather. I think those are fundamentally good rules, and I feel like I abide by those more often than not. Obviously, sometimes I fall short of what I set up for myself, but I think everyone does.
It's a good point. I agree with you.
Thank you.
All right. You and your friends claimed that I insulted my own daughter through fake Sagan a while back. But he and I have spoken, and he knows that trolls impersonated him and attacked me. How do you feel about that?
If that's the way it went down, then I guess I apologize. I don't know that it was a troll. The prevailing theory that I'd held is that you did it to frame fake Sagan. But maybe I was mistaken. I honestly can't prove it one way or the other, so I guess I'm agnostic towards it.
Okay. You are aware that as soon as he told me a while back, whenever this went down, that he didn't do it, that something was wrong here, somebody was being an idiot, I removed my video almost immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to let you know, I didn't know if you were aware of that. It's sometimes hard to talk with you with 4 other guys getting rambunctious, but I understand, it's entertainment, it's comedy. All right, Sure. Are you ready for the next question?
Sure.
Okay, you go off about feminists and SJWs for insulting you and men. What would you say to a nasty feminist if she said, hey, your videos are bad and you should feel bad about it?
I'd probably laugh at that. I'm not a confrontational person. I know I can come across as confrontational online, but I think it's just because, I don't usually go off, even online, I really don't usually go out of my way to try to instigate things with people. Sometimes the format of the Drunken Peasants forces instigation in some ways because, I'm watching other people's videos. I'm going to be honest about what I think. But typically, I don't really go around looking for people to attack. I'm usually just looking for, bad arguments or things I disagree with. In terms of this hypothetical feminist, I don't know. It depends on my mood that day. I think probably I'd just laugh at it and say, well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Okay.
I have an opinion against you. You have an opinion against me at the end of the day.
Every once in a while during the interview, you're having it kind of stutters just for a moment. Do you think that there's something that may be happening with your computer?
I can't think of what would be going on. I could see about this cable. My gain is as low as it'll go. The cable seems...
It happens every once in a while. It's not super big of a deal.
Is it really bad? Is it making it difficult to understand what I'm saying?
No, but there was a couple times where whenever you said the word intellectual, it went it kind of like a Max Headroom a little bit. But besides that,
yeah. I do have kind of an overcrowded hard drive at this point. Let me go ahead and close out of my Chrome windows. And let me close out of, well, I obviously can't close out of Skype. Mm-hmm. I'll close out of these windows here. Okay, the only programs I'm running is Skype and this little notepad thing. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. So, I've closed some programs. Maybe that'll free up a little more bandwidth or whatever. It could be my internet connection, actually, because my connection has not been great these last few days. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah.
I'm going to be hitting stop every once in a while because I don't want what happened with us during the Mind of the Manatee where the thing just clink, something goes wrong. So I'm going to hit stop real quick and then start recording immediately afterwards. All right. We are recording again. And all right, this is kind of along with the question I had asked you a moment ago, but with a little bit more. Do you like being abused or insulted and criticized? I know it comes off weird, but some people actually like that.
No, I've never really been too much into that aspect of things. The insulting or whatever. That's not one of my kinks or anything. Maybe some light stuff like that, but I tend to have a big ego even when I'm subbing, so there's not going to be, I guess I could tolerate it. It just really wouldn't turn me on. It wouldn't do anything for me in terms of, oh, this is so exciting that they're, insulting me or something. But, I don't judge people who are into that. If that's what you're into, then enjoy it, have fun. Best of luck. Wouldn't that be great if you had that fetish? Because you'd be getting off all the time. I guess I probably would be too. But no, I don't. I guess I kind of swim. You know what it's like. One thing we actually can share in common is that you come under a lot of fire. I come under a lot of fire. We could have arguments over who deserves what and all this, but ultimately we can at least share that experience of knowing what it's like to have just internet hatred to be the background radiation of your entire existence.
I hope that you don't have the impression, even though I said some pretty rough-ass things, that I hate you, because I don't.
I don't really hate you either. I don't know. I really don't know what my feelings are towards you, Brett, but yeah, I don't really hate you. I don't really hate anybody, honestly. I guess I can hate someone in a moment, like out of anger, but once the anger fades, the hatred is gone as well. That might be the flip side of what I was talking about earlier with the antisocial personality disorder stuff. I don't necessarily take much offense to people.
All right. Fair enough. My next question is, I was watching one of your latest videos that you had said you've claimed atheists have destroyed all arguments for God. Can you name 3 major arguments that you've heard for the existence of God that have been destroyed as you've asserted, and please, how so?
Okay, well, that's kind of there's a lot of unpacking involved in that question. The main thing you hear various incarnations of the blind watchmaker argument. I'm sure you're familiar with that argument. You see a tree, or you see a watch. You know that this watch had a maker. You see a painting. You know it had a painter. Therefore, God must have made the trees and the mountains and stuff like that. But we know the watch had a maker because we actually do know that watches, you're just some primitive walking around, with total ignorance of the world, and you stumble across a watch, you might think it is naturally occurring. You're not going to necessarily know instantly it had a maker, I don't think. But the thing is that all these things in nature did have makers. The mountains were made by the forces of geology, and the trees were made by the process of evolution, and so on and so forth. That's just one angle you can come at it from. There's actually multiple different ways you could refute the watchmaker argument. Then there's it's not necessarily an argument for God, but it's an argument against atheism. Just kind of the shock of God thing of, somehow prove atheism is true, trying to place the burden of proof on the atheists. But I don't feel like the burden of proof can be placed on me when I'm just denying someone else's claim that I haven't seen good evidence for. So that's another one. It's been an awful long time. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you have some other arguments. I mean, I've pretty much heard them all at this point. There's kind of like some stupid ones like, I kind of consider them all stupid, but there's some like really stupid ones like, I've heard the argument made, if you can imagine God, he with all of his perfection and stuff, he must be real because a being, if you can imagine that perfection, it must exist because that. I forget the exact rationale behind it, but it's just really a word game. It's just semantics. A lot of these things boil down to semantics. And then there's things that are really arguments for deism rather than actual atheism. A lot of these arguments like, well, maybe God was the Big Bang. Maybe, there had to be an unmoved mover or an uncaused cause and all this. Well, even if that is God, it's, you still have to demonstrate that that's actually the God of the Bible, and not just, some God that we haven't none of us ever imagined. Probably an impersonal God, probably a God that doesn't care. But I don't even think that it is a God. I just think that it came about through naturalistic means.
Right. And I want to say that in the future, it would be very nice if you ever get time. I'd love to be able to have some discussions with you more of this nature. However, this is an interview. When I ask you questions, I'm just going to let you answer any way you feel, and I'm not going to cut you off or, try to go into some kind of, well, you should think this way, TJ.
I'm sorry.
You okay?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, the vapor's been kicking my ass as well. I don't know if that's what's doing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I smoke cigarettes and smoke weed, so coughing for me is not that unusual. Especially not, in the winter months as we're drawing into.
Mm-hmm. That is one of the questions I wanted to ask you before I get into any other theological. I have only a few questions dealing with theology. It's more about you in the interview, but I do notice that there's a lot of drug use, there's a lot of alcohol and all this. Aren't you concerned about your health?
Sure. I guess I have some concern, but I like drugs, so I'm probably going to keep doing drugs. There's plenty of drugs I don't do. I would never do heroin. I would never do crack. Probably wouldn't regularly do cocaine. Never really tried it. Maybe I would give it a shot. Mostly what I do is I smoke weed, and I don't really drink too heavily. Maybe I get drunk once or maybe twice a month. I would say, of the things that I do drug-wise, the thing that gives me the most concern is smoking cigarettes, which, I know you've also dealt with cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest health risk activity that I engage in, other than, I don't necessarily eat right. I feel like I eat better than I used to, but still far from ideal. But, I do smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke a lot of cigarettes. I probably smoke 8 or 9 a day. So I go through maybe a pack every 2.5 days, out there with a pack a day habit, or, even 2 packs a day. I don't know how many you were up to at your worst. At my worst, I was probably about a pack and a half a day. So I have reduced the amount of cigarettes I smoke, but I am still smoking. I found it hard. I found it pretty easy to go from smoking a pack and a half a day to smoking, 8 or 9 a day, but I haven't really been able to, overcome that hump of, I haven't really been able to reduce it much more than that. About the lowest I've been able to sustain myself with was 3 a day. I've gotten down to 3. Every attempt to go to like 2 has been a failure. So the best I have been able to do with my own willpower is 3 a day. I'm trying next to switch to the vapor as you're doing. I've tried it a few times before, but I don't think I was getting high enough nicotine content, e-juice. So I'm going to get some higher nicotine stuff and try that, and hopefully that'll be what finally breaks me of the fucking cigarette habit. There's just something romantic about a cigarette to me, though, you know. I don't know if you ever just sit there when you're smoking a cigarette and just watch the smoke kind of tangling its way upward. It's I don't know. I have affinity for smoke, so it's kind of hard to give that up. But you know, for my health, I do have to. So yeah, I guess I mean I have health concerns. I'm not wringing my hands over it, but you know, I obviously would rather be healthy than unhealthy.
Right. I know that I don't have to remind you that there's a lot of great actors, musicians, people of great stature who have in the business who have passed away due to drugs and alcohol issues. Just figured I'd put that out there. I'm sure you already know.
Oh, sure. Sure, I know.
All right. Can you explain how a non-logical, non-rational, non-loving, blind, cold universe can produce rational, logical, loving people?
Yeah, I mean, I can do it on a layman level. I mean, a lot of these things, like love, that's obviously designed. I mean, that's obviously designed to be a social adhesive, not designed by God, but just selected for by evolution. I mean, you know, like a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake doesn't love anybody. A rattlesnake, you know, is out for itself. But when you have animals that exist in group units, you know, affection for each other becomes part of the glue that holds you together. A social animal wants to be sociable. Like I have a dog, is very loving, you know, goes through separation anxiety if you leave him alone in a room. So, you know, it's because he's a pack animal. I also have a lizard who, if dies tomorrow, would not even give a shit. So until of course the food stopped, then it would probably care. But you know, it's just a product of evolution. It's just social adhesive. It's just a bond to keep social animals together. And when you're as intelligent as we are, your emotions take on a whole new depth because you're able to philosophize about them. You're able to examine your feelings. You're able to make connections that other animals' brains are just too primitive to make. So, you know, I feel like everything that we are is ultimately a product of billions of years of increasing complexity and adapting to our environment.
Okay. Are you aware that 90% of the founders of every field of science believed in some sort or form of God?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're talking about the founders, I mean, sure, because they came from a time when everyone believed in God, and even if you didn't believe in God, you were going to profess a belief in God. You know, not many scientists today, in the wake of the advancements that we've seen in the 19th and 20th centuries and continue to see in the 21st century, few of them are still religious. Those who are religious probably are not fundamental. Just you know, a lot of deists or a lot of, you know, cafeteria Catholics and things.
All right, I'm going to hit stop again. Why do you? It's okay. I understand. Why do you claim atheist position is superior when you don't have one single scientific fact to back it up? That's kind of the shock of God thing, I know, but I'd like to hear you on that. I
mean, could you clarify, back it up?
Well, If one believes that there or lacks a belief in deities, then clearly you're going to have to assume there's some kind of naturalistic explanation for life,
Sure.
consciousness, and the universe.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, do you think that there's any scientific reason why we should believe that the universe came from something outside of space and time that was not a god?
Sure. Well, I mean, you could make, if we were two cavemen standing on the ridge, and we see the valley, and we see that the rains are coming. You could say the same thing to me in that situation when I say I don't think the rains come from a god. I don't think they come from the rain god. And you could say, well, how do you know and all that? But ultimately now we know about the water cycle. We know about evaporation and condensation and precipitation and all that stuff. So I mean, I think that what you're talking about kind of boils down to the old God of the gaps thing. Every time we don't absolutely have a perfect scientific understanding of something, theists like to insert God into it and say, oh, well, God must have done it. I think that, it doesn't matter that there's no evidence for atheism, because what evidence could there even be that there isn't a God? The only evidence that we could have of that is if we could see the entire universe and know that there was nothing beyond it, or even we could see beyond it. We could just see all that exists on any level, in any plane, and we looked, there's no God anywhere to be found. I mean, that's the only evidence you could have that there is no God, and people could still make an argument like, well, maybe we don't see everything. Maybe there is something beyond even this. So you're always going to be able to find somewhere for God to live, but really God only lives in the imagination of believers.
Okay. In your video, Escaping Atheism 2, I know you're going, what? Brett Keane, you watching my videos? Of course I do. In your video...
that actually does not surprise me at all.
There you go.
I mean, I watch your videos too. Not all. There's a lot, but...
In your video, Escaping Atheism 2, you say it's stupid to speculate about an intelligent mind creating the universe. A retarded delusion created by cavemen, which you kind of did a caveman thing on me. Are you aware that Bill Nye, Stephen Hawking, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Richard Dawkins say it's very possible that we could be living in an advanced matrix controlled by a super entity or advanced alien? I actually have the video clips if you'd want to hear that one day.
No, I've heard it. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think many atheists really object to someone speculating that there might be a God. It's when someone says, there is a God, and I know there is. I don't have any problem with people positing different ideas about where the universe came from. I think that if you want to say, I think that it was all set off by an intelligent designer, maybe that's fine in the capacity of deism when you're just saying, well, I think that might have been what happened, what caused it all. But when you take it to that next level of, well, I know what the creator wants, and we have all these edicts and all this. I mean, Richard Dawkins and Bill Nye and shit, they might posit maybe we're living in a simulation, or maybe we were created by aliens or something, but they don't say, therefore, we need to obey these aliens, or we need to figure out the rules of the simulation, and, we need to obey the creators of the simulation or whatever. There's no dogma attached to it. There's no, this is how you have to live your life because some supreme entity says so.
Mm-hmm. In your same video, though, you did state that there are some non-believers that treat atheism very dogmatically and religiously.
Sure.
Okay, well, I mean, just reminding you of that.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's absolutely true. There are some who treat it dogmatically.
All right. This is off the religion stuff. I told you I just had a few questions. I figure in the future, if you really want to talk about this, and we can, about religion and all that kind of stuff. This is more of a drama thing. A while back, you attempted to befriend, it seemed, at least in my perception, that you tried to befriend Devin Tracy, Atheism is Unstoppable. But it seemed like you were aware that Drunken Peasants fans had claimed he dox-dropped them. Why would you still try to befriend him knowing this?
I felt kind of bad for Devin. I called him a racist on my show, and I felt like, oh well, this guy's saying now that this guy's telling me he's not a racist, that I misjudged him, and I went and watched some of his videos, and I actually realized, well, some of this guy's content is actually pretty good. So I figure, like, okay, well, I'll bury the hatchet and we'll make amends and all that. Because I'd rather have someone as my friend than my enemy. He seems like a smart guy. He seems like a reasonable guy. And I heard about the doxing and stuff, but, there's always drama going on. I try not to hold petty internet drama shit against people too much. So I figure, we can look past that. And, I even became kind of an advocate and defender for a while, trying to, because a lot of times when someone who's an interesting person is going to have weird quirks about their personality, maybe even to the point where it's a deep character flaw. There's a lot of very flawed people who had a lot of insightful, poignant, interesting things to say. So I started advocating for him on that basis. But as time went on, I mean, just it just seemed like he never wanted to. He never wanted to be friends. He never wanted to bury the hatchet. And I kind of realized after studying his behavior, especially towards his friend Anthony, his former friend Anthony, I kind of just realized, like, this is one of these people that there's no pleasing him, and he's just going to hate anyone who disagrees with him, even slightly. And at that point, I just said, well, fuck him then, because I don't have any use for someone like that. I don't have any use abide by sycophants. Mm-hmm. So I stopped trying to be friends with him. I stopped defending him. And, now at this point, I don't really have any animosity towards him, but I think he's kind of silly.
I don't know if you realize this. I did make a video saying some positive things about him as well as the creationist cat. Did do a video like this. In the past, though, I have criticized him. I actually was convinced that he was racist by some of the remarks and some of the things I've seen out there. But I noticed that he didn't spend one single iota of time going after me at all. Why do you think he went after you? Do you think it might be a popular reason, or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he claims not to care about popularity, but it does seem like he... as I was in that initial spat with him, I noticed that he blocked all of the people who were criticizing him, but he never blocked me. I think it was because he wanted that dialogue. He wanted to step up to some kind of plate and prove that he's superior to me and all this. It just ended up resulting in diminished, and I even tried to help the guy at one point. I included him in a collaboration video that we all did, and I actually got a lot of shit for it. Helped him get some new subscribers, and he was just never grateful about that. And now he just hemorrhages and loses subscribers constantly. People can't tolerate his behavior. I mean, and then he blocks his own fans constantly as well. So he's kind of making his own bed. I don't really know what to say beyond that.
Do you ever feel, this is something I've thought about, and I've seen some behaviors online, obviously been around as long as I have, but does it ever feel like there are some atheists out there who are literally competing with you as though you're the big dog on top because you are very popular, but they're trying to knock you down so they can be number one?
Sure, I guess. I don't really pay much mind. I just try to do the things that I like to do and make content that I think is going to entertain my fans and anyone else who stumbles across it. I try not to pay too much attention to my contemporaries. I mean, I'll go check out a video every now and then by a Thunderfoot or Sargon of Akkad or Chris Raygun or any of those people, and I like those people, and I've interacted with them a few times, and they've always seemed like nice guys and stuff. But I don't really watch a lot of their stuff because a lot of the stuff they're saying to me is I live, eat, shit, and breathe it. I'm sure it's the same way with them. I'm sure they don't sit around watching each other's videos either, because we already know this shit. We're the ones who are swimming in this all the time. But I don't really sense much animosity towards the people. I mean, like, I feel like when it's people like Armored Skate. Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk and people like that, I feel like those guys all pretty content to just develop their own audiences, and they're not necessarily looking at me or anyone else and trying to judge themselves against it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't really know. That's just not how I function. Maybe they do that way. I'm really just I'm not concerned about necessarily being more prosperous than others or worried about others becoming more prosperous than me. I just want to be as prosperous as I can be and make the best content I can make, and you know, try I get the views keep coming and people always enjoy what they're seeing, and you know, if I can make something that challenges them in some way, that's fine. I enjoy doing that too. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be myself and be the best I can be.
Okay. I would like to recommend something for you, because I have noticed often during an interview that you're coughing, and you've explained it, but I would recommend trying to do some hot tea or hot coffee. That's what the wife does for me, and it seems to help out.
Yeah, I might pour myself a cup of tea after we're done with this interview, sure.
Okay, man. All right, this one's a little bit more dramatic. This is kind of having to do with the Joseph Martelli thing. On a private DP show, you and Paul said Joseph Martelli was violent and mentally ill and believed he was a threat. Paul said on Periscope that he didn't believe Joe was crazy and would have a beer with him, even stated he didn't think Joe would do anything bad. I, however, have a hangout where Joseph clearly says he never meant anyone any harm, with Tommy from the Bronx actually in the room present listening. So I'm wondering, why did you guys yell at me and acting like he was a threat? If you really believed he was a threat, why didn't you call the police like I advised you guys to do on your own live show?
You know, I don't know when Paul made the remarks that Joseph Martelli was not crazy and he'd have a beer with him or whatever. I assume that's probably before he started posting guns on his Instagram and stuff like that.
It was done recently.
Recently. I don't know then. I'd have to see the tweet you're talking about. But my feeling on it is Joseph Martelli is clearly crazy. I don't know if he's violent. He seems like he's at least an instigator, and he definitely was saying things that was implying violence. I always kind of thought that he wasn't really going to do anything, but I don't really know that. You know, I mean, whatever. It's in the past for me. I can't speak for all the peasants, and I'm not going to give you like a clean slate of absolution. But for me personally, I really don't care. You'll notice I was actually pretty quiet during that time because like I said, I don't really hold a grudge very much. You know, I don't really care. I'm still indignant about whatever. I mean, I think I've seen evidence that you gave him our addresses. I'm not going to take that back, but I think that he's a lunatic, but he hasn't come back again since that I know of. So whatever.
I don't know what you're seeing or what people are saying to you, but I do have over 100 people impersonating me on Skype as well as on Google Plus and things like that. You know that. I mean, you're going to find Brett Keane fuckhead, Brett Keane asshole, bitch, everything else, all the way down the line. I can assure you that I didn't. In fact, if I thought you guys were in any kind of danger myself, I'd call the police. I called the police a while back when I thought Mr. Repsey and Take Shot Action were in danger.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've seen pretty compelling evidence to the contrary, but I don't know. I guess we could look into that again.
All right, fair enough.
It comes to me from someone who was in your inner circle, and who actually was running your Hangouts at one point. So I feel like the information is pretty good. It's not from like a fake Brett Keane Twitter or something, but maybe that person misdirected me. But I don't believe that's the case. But I mean, you know, I'm a skeptical person, so I don't automatically jump to conclusions. But you know, it seems to me like there's an awful lot of issues where, you know, it might appear like this happened, but actually it was this big misunderstanding, and it always seems like you're implicated, but there's always some mitigating factor that exculpates you, which I think that's a remarkable coincidence if that's true. You have the worst luck of any human being, or maybe there's just so much vitriol around you. I don't know.
Well, I do have people running into my room dropping my address and saying they're going to come whip my ass and all that stuff.
Well, I definitely don't condone or endorse that in any way.
Well, I appreciate that, man. All right, so the next question, let's move along. I don't want to spend too much time aggravating you about that process.
I'm not aggravated.
Okay. You get annoyed at news and social media when they lied and misrepresent Donald Trump and other people. Why?
Sure. You know, I get angry when I see, you know, I wouldn't even mind if all the anti-Trump coverage. Look, I should make it clear, my feelings towards Trump, I don't think he's going to be a good president. I don't like him. I think that he's embodies a lot of things that I am against on principle. However, I feel like many of the attacks that have been levied against him are unfair, and you know, I think a lot of it is just a lot of liberal smoke and mirrors and hot air and whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to stand up against bullshit wherever I see it, even if it's coming from people that might ideologically share a lot in common with me. I'm going to say, no, I don't think this is fair. I don't think this is right. And I think it's ridiculous the way that Hillary Clinton was given such a pass by CNN, such a pass by MSNBC, such a pass by almost every mainstream media channel and publication that covered the election. It just seemed like the narrative that was being pushed on us was that you're evil and bad if you Trump and Hillary's the only real choice. And to me, that's not even that's not democratic when we're being pressured into thinking we only have one choice. Fuck that. We have more than one choice. We should have several choices. It shouldn't just come down to two people. But it certainly shouldn't come down to only one. And I think that as bad as I think Trump is, I think that there are certain things, issues that he's in. I think that there's a lot of problems with Hillary Clinton as a candidate, and I honestly think that's why she lost. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to see people treated unfairly. I think that you know, there's a great respect for fairness in me. Maybe it doesn't always play out the way that you think it should, or maybe no one really thinks that I'm fair except for me. But I think I'm fair. I think I have a fair mind. I am also judgmental. I will attack things that I think are bad, but I don't think I've ever attacked something unjustly or unwarrantedly, and if I have, I would apologize for that, I guess.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay. Do you believe in spontaneous generation?
Spontaneous generation of life?
Yes.
Spontaneous generation. You know, I wouldn't say that I necessarily absolutely disbelieve in it, but I don't think that's how life on this planet has come about, and I don't think there's any documented case of spontaneous generation of life.
For those out there who are listening who may not know what I'm asking, spontaneous generation usually dictates that life came from non-life or inanimate matter. And
so you're talking about bio. Because see, when you say spontaneous generation, I think of you know, the medieval belief that you know, people used to believe that maggots were born from meat. You know, that they just sprang from it. They didn't realize it was flies laying eggs. You know, they thought rats just appeared out of the garbage and stuff. You know, so I thought you were talking about that sort of thing. When you're talking about non-life coming from life, I mean, honestly, a lot of non-life already exhibits behaviors and things like that. It's actually kind of a blurry line, I think, and there's a lot of things that straddle that line, like a virus. It has viral DNA, but it doesn't really meet all the criteria for life, but it meets some of them. So it's almost in this sort of gray area. Is it a living thing or is it not? I think that there's a lot of things that behave like that that are not necessarily alive. You know, especially on the quantum level, you know, you see particles are attracted to one another and they form structures together and they form bonds with one another or don't. So there are behaviors. They're very regimented, and they seem to be a lot more predictable than the way living things are going to behave. But they still do have behaviors, and I think that you know, if you're talking about a ladder of complexity, then yeah, I think that the first living thing probably did arise from a non-living that was fairly similar, but it's just a matter of where that line is going to be. It kind of almost boils down to a semantics thing, or at least a thing in terms of classifications of where you're going to place that. Because if you read the scientific literature, the first organisms, you know, probably would bear very little resemblance to a single-celled organism today. Probably a far more primitive sort of self-replicating cell.
Okay. All right. I thought you froze for a moment there.
I'm sorry. Are we still having issues with that?
No, you kind of, I guess you kind of sat there just for a moment, and I was like, is he froze? And then you moved.
No, I was being very still. Sorry.
Yes. Kind of threw me off there a little bit. All right. Why do you believe in evolution? Have you been in a lab? Have you ever experimented yourself, or are you just taking an authority and faith on it?
You know, it's really neither. I mean, I'm not a trained scientist. I've never worked in a laboratory. I've known scientists. I mean, I have friends who are chemists and biologists and so on and so forth. So I do know a little bit from my dealings with them. And I've read, I don't want to say super extensively, but I've read a lot of popular science books and stuff. And I don't believe in evolution. I mean, I've also watched a lot of YouTube videos, both produced by independent creators and scientific institutions and stuff. And documentaries and so on and so forth. I feel like I'm a pretty well-educated layman, but it's not just a matter of, well, this authority says there's evolution, so there must be evolution. I mean, if I was that gullible, then I'd just believe anything that any authority told me on anything, and people know that's not my personality. I follow the line of reasoning. I've looked at the evidence that has been presented to me, and I've looked at the counter-arguments, and to me, I mean, I settle a lot of things through argument, honestly, and I've seen debates between creationists and evolutionists, and I've heard both entail. And to me, evolution just makes more sense. I think that the evidence for it is actually pretty impressive. I feel like I'm swayed by the evidence and the science, albeit I'm not a scientist myself, so I can't necessarily you know, give you some, if obviously this would be a better question to ask someone like Richard Dawkins, who is a zoologist and evolutionary biologist. I'm a high school dropout. I've read a lot on evolution. I've watched a lot on evolution, but I'm not really an expert. Is what I am on that subject.
If you don't mind me asking, and there's been lots of people who are extremely intelligent today who didn't make it through high school, but why did you quit?
I have a video on my channel called Why High School Sucks. And I think that I mean, I don't want to just plug that and act like that's the entirety of the answer, but I think it explains a lot. It doesn't really, I don't think it directly why I left high school, but it talks about my impressions of high school. Now I don't know what you're like in terms of your personal life, Brett. I know what your internet persona is like. I don't know what you're actually like in person, but I have what could be called a pathological aversion to authority. Um, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like trying to exist within the confines of an environment that is to encourage certain behaviors and discourage others. I don't necessarily like being in a room with a lot of other people. I don't like interacting with other human beings to that extent, for that duration, with that frequency. And I also found the lessons boring. I mean, they're trying to teach me about things that I read on my own when I was in fifth grade or sixth grade. And then, I mean, I'm sitting there reading, I don't know, Nietzsche or shit at lunch, and people are bothering me and asking me dumb questions and asking me what I'm reading and why. And know, I just don't know. I don't like being pestered. I don't like a lot of people around me. I don't like that environment. I feel like it's rigid, or it's controlled. It's artificial. It's designed to break your spirit and bend you to the will of your corporate masters, as George Carlin once said. Not an environment for me. So I rejected it. I was a conscientious objector, I think, from school. I did not do any assignments. I never did my homework. I never did tests. I never did anything they gave to me after a certain point. You know, I was content to take zeros across the board in every class. Did not turn in assignments, did not care to work. Just wanted to read my books and write my poems and do the things that I was interested in at that time. And I left high school, and I've never regretted it. I still stand by that decision. I'm glad I did.
You, you yourself, you have a lot of young people as well as some adults out there. I've got to talk to some of these people because they've come into my rooms. But I know that you don't like the idea of people listening to you and being responsible for decisions people make. I get that. But what would you say to young people who might say, well, shit, look at TJ. He's fucking badass. He's successful. He's selling T-shirts, and he's a rock and roll star. Maybe I ought to quit high school. What would you say to these guys?
I mean, I can only tell them that part of the reason I quit high school was because I was looking at people like Marilyn Manson and George Carlin and other people who in entertainment, and I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to be a film director. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to be something that was interacting with people on a mass level, because I'm not really great at dealing with them on an interpersonal, individual level. So that's what I pursued, and it worked out for me. Maybe for some people it doesn't work out. I can't guarantee that your outcome is going to be good if that's what you do. But I don't think that, I don't think you're guaranteed a good outcome just because you get your high school diploma either. I don't think you're guaranteed a good outcome because you go to college. I know plenty of people who went to college and all it got them was crushed under a mountain of fucking debt. I think that, I would say don't just listen to me. Listen to a wide variety of people and make your own decision if it's your life. I would say don't view me as the be-all, end-all of what you need to do, but that's my 2 cents, is follow your dreams, do what you want. And some people will tell you don't follow your dreams, be practical, be pragmatic, and if that's what you want to do, ultimately, then do that. There's plenty of different ideas about how you can live, and really no way is much better than the other.
I respect that, and I agree with you on that. All right, next question. Obviously, there's been some issues with this Tommy Sotomayor character. This question was before I found out about him doing the DMCA on you. But why do you believe he deserved to be mocked and rated for in the first place? I noticed some DP stuff like that.
Sure. Well, you have to remember that our initial interaction with Tommy Sotomayor was he made a video stating that black people in America be slaves because they also had the option to die fighting. I think that this is a pretty disgusting point of view, and we made a video basically arguing against it and why we thought it was wrong. And at that point, Tommy hit us with our first DMCA, and he crippled our channel for 2 weeks, and a lot of bad, negative things happened because of that. Put DP on my channel for a while, and I lost subscribers because people who are subscribed to The Amazing Atheist don't necessarily want 2.5-hour videos posted on the channel every 3 times a week, So I lost Amazing Atheist subscribers because of that, and we lost Drunken Peasants revenue because of that, and so on and so forth. So there was a history of antagonism with this guy, and it really started because he couldn't handle us criticizing his worldview. So we decided, let's go raid his chat, and we'll have people spam Glanderson Booper, which I don't know if you know our combination of Glenn Beck and Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, your fans. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were joking about them being a gay couple and stuff. It's just a joke, silly joke, really harmless. So we had our fans go and they spammed Glanderson Booper in his chat room over and over again. Now, is that hurting anybody? Is that hurting him? If anything, it's helping him. It's sending a bunch of views to him. They're not saying anything mean. They're not saying anything hurtful. They're just saying Glanderson Booper. Mm-hmm. Now, he made a video saying that we called him a nigger and we called his guest an ape and all this stuff, and that never happened. No one said that. We were spamming Glanderson Booper. We did it one too many times, and he got upset, and that's what the deal is behind this current DMCA. I mean, this was not a malicious raid. This was light teasing that really... It had no meaning. Like, the stuff we spammed him with, it had no meaning whatsoever. It was just silly stuff. So I don't really feel like his reaction was warranted. I feel like he takes things way too seriously, way too personally. That's just my feeling. Now, I mean, if he's really deeply offended, maybe we'll get a chance to settle that in court. I hope that it doesn't come to that, but it's looking... We're gonna lawyer up and we're gonna see, but hopefully he'll drop it before then. We'll see.
Okay. Now, I myself, I heard about this Booperson, Glanderson thing by seeing people while I was doing a live thing, just text after text after text, and I had no fucking idea where it was coming from or who was doing it. But I ended
we didn't even send them at you, so.
Oh, I hear you. I didn't see a video where you guys actually instructed them to do that to me. I didn't find out what the fuck it was until I went to Twitter and seen that Paul Zigo had the name on his Twitter. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Okay. And of course, I get the occasional poop balls. So.
Yeah, poop balls is another popular one. Poop balls actually originated when we were talking about how dumb our chat was, and we made fun of, like, they're just in there spamming something like poop balls over and over again, and then they actually started doing it, of course, and ever since then it's been a thing. But originally it was actually meant to mock them for how silly and stupid the chat was. Time a chat a chat room gets too crowded or too full, you're always going to have this effect where no one's really having a conversation. It just becomes spam, and certain people enjoy that sort of thing. So whatever, let them have it. We open our chat room. We know there's never going to be anything poignant or insightful or interesting in it. We know it's just going to be people posting verbal diarrhea, and we don't care. Let them have at it. If they have a good time doing it, what do we even really give a shit?
Are you under the realization that a while back, I'd say probably about 3 years ago, I actually myself created a series going after Tommy Sotomayor because I believed what he was doing to African American women was pretty rough. But I ended up finally, after a while of this shit back and forth between them, I went on to his small radio program that he had at the time. He's bigger now, but He was very respectful, very nice to me, and we kind of just said, okay, let bygones be bygones. So maybe just saying if this is your interest, you guys could actually talk things out and work out your issues. Maybe.
I'd like to do that. If he wants to make contact with me, I can't make contact with him. I'm blocked on all of his social media and stuff. But if he wants to reach out to me, I mean, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to discuss the issue with him. I'm happy to tell him my feelings, and he can tell me his, and maybe we can come to some sort of mutual understanding with each other. I don't know. I'm always willing to give diplomacy a chance. But, failing that, I am willing to go to war with his ass.
Okay. I will put this forth to you, just a recommendation. Maybe if you can get somebody to do this for you, let them know that you'd be willing to talk to him on Skype one-on-one. He does get irritated very quickly, so if you took him on DP and Paul's ego did his, such a washing after him, he would probably get riled up and it'd just get worse.
Sure. I don't think we'd necessarily have him on DP unless he dropped the thing to start with. But I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with the guy.
Okay, sounds good. Just putting it out there. I haven't talked to him for quite a while since that time, just letting you know.
Sure.
All right, the next question is, do you believe being kind and nice makes you seem weak in any way?
No. But, I guess it makes it easier for people to take advantage of you. But I don't think that we should look down on people who are kind or nice. I think that the world needs more kindness. It needs more nice people. There's already a lot of assholes like you and I. If the earth has met its asshole quota, we probably do need some nice people running around. And, I know it probably doesn't seem, you were just talking about Paul a moment ago, he's so whatever. But in person, Paul is a really, really nice guy. He has a fiery streak to him, and so do I, so do you for that matter. But, I feel like he's a nice person. I don't know if I'm necessarily a nice person, but I'm not an overly cruel person. If anything, I'm a little bit careless. I sometimes end up hurting people accidentally through carelessness, and just not really properly take people's feelings into account. And I try to, get better about that. But no, I don't think kindness is a sign of weakness. Although I do think that it actually is I guess it is kind of a weakness in the sense that people will exploit it. So maybe there needs to be every kind person maybe should have an asshole friend that is looking out for them. I don't know.
I will put this forth because I have a feeling Paul will see this. I understand that Paul is trying to entertain, he's trying to be funny, and he's pissed off at me for some reasons. I get that. But behind the scenes, when I've talked to him before, he does come off really nice and a caring person. I will put that forth.
Yeah, I would say he is. There's obviously issues that exist. I'm willing to put these issues aside for, something like this interview because, you've come through and you've been on our show and you've taken it too and whatever, it's fine. And last time you were compensated and stuff, but it was you did hold up your end of the deal and all that. And usually gonna appear somewhere. You usually do. So I can't think of a time that when you said you were coming on DP or something when you didn't. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty fair for me to come on your show here and have this interview, I guess, or discussion, whatever you want it to be.
That's cool of you, man, and it is appreciated, like I said right at the beginning. Okay.
I did consider coming on here with a more antagonistic attitude, but I figured that I'll just answer the questions you have, and I'll be honest about it. And if we get into some sort of confrontation about something, then so be it. But I'm not going to go in here looking for confrontation, because I understand what you're trying to do here with this channel is, or not with this channel, but with this interview series, is you're trying to, I guess. Get more to, is this, what is this? Is this like a new format for you, kind of? Like you're doing this is this like a way you envision your channel going forward? Is just trying to do interviews with people, or are you just doing this like as a phase? Like, is this a little project? I mean, what is this really?
Well, I want to be able to continue to do the interviews, but also some of my other content. I will tell you, I'm really, I did mean it, and I believed it whenever I said this in the past. I want to get away from the whole, fucking being critical of TJ constantly stuff. I'm tired of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like everything that you had to say against me, you've said, and I feel like I've said pretty much everything I have to say against you. I mean, like, if I say something new that pisses you off, I mean, feel free to go around and criticize it and do whatever you want. But in terms of like the major, I mean, they've already been explored. I think that in Mind of the Manatee and in the last night's show, or everything, all of our interactions have been kind of laden with drama. So whatever. Anyway, you have any more questions or?
Well, I didn't completely answer your question fully, though.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I want to also humanize people. I want it that whenever people watch, they're not seeing the persona or whatever someone's trying to push on YouTube. I want people to see the real person behind it. And so far, I think you're doing a great job. Just saying.
Thank you.
All right. The next.
I am trying to answer your questions as honestly as I possibly can. So.
And I feel like you're doing so. All right. I've noticed people draw sexual pictures of you and I having sex. And you've stated in videos that you've actually dreamed of sex with me. Why do you think that this is the case for?
The reason people have drawn it is because we had a contest to that effect. I don't remember dreaming about it, but maybe I did. I have a terrible memory, as you probably know, but I don't recall that necessarily. I don't know. I think it's because we've been such foils to one another that it's kind of funny. To see us in that sort of situation, Yeah. So, whatever. I mean, I think it's kind of funny. It's like showing Batman and the Joker, kissing or something.
I hear you. Well, just to give you kind of a heads up on the dream, let's see if this will kind of work for you so you'll remember. The dream apparently had something to do with my big ass sitting in a cement block.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. The dream, maybe I did. I don't know. But, yeah, someone showed me this big cement block and you were like encased in it, but your ass was hanging out. And it was like, oh, this is Brett Keane. Whatever. I can't control what I dream. I've had stranger dreams. But, yeah, that was kind of weird.
All right. I am going to hit stop. All right. Okay, the next question I have for you, and this is really weird. I actually heard this question on a weird-ass movie a while back. Please don't ask me which one. But between Paul Zigo, Mr. Repzion, and Pimp Monk X, choose a fate for them. One will die, one is tortured, the other is raped. Which ones would get the fate?
This is Paul Zigo, Repzion, and so it's the contestants from the special episode, right?
Yes.
The Wheel of Misfortune?
Yes.
So one gets murdered, one gets tortured, and one gets raped.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'd probably murder Pimp Monk. Well, I mean, the reasoning for that, he's pretty unhealthy. I don't really think he has a lot of years left if he continues the way he is. He smokes 2 packs a day. He weighs over 500 pounds, I believe. So I don't really think he's long for this world anyway. So I feel like it makes sense to kill the person who you think is going to have the least amount of life. I would probably say torture Paul, because it seems like he has a decently high pain tolerance. Rape Repzion, because that's the only option left at that point.
Oh, goodness. I think we're going to get ourselves in trouble on that one. All right, next one.
Oh, I don't think so. I think people can recognize that it's a strange hypothetical, but I think that any answer you give to that question is going to be fucked up. So.
All right, this one is for a while back, but I'm interested in your opinion on it. A while back, there was a user named Coughlin who loved mocking and insulting the piss out of people, but you and a friend said very little to him. I didn't even see much on it, but it seemed like it caused him to just fucking like break down and melt.
True.
What
Yeah,
happened there?
Okay, well, what happened with Coughlin is I was actually a Coughlin fan. I liked Coughlin stuff, and I made friends with this dude named Galen Hall, and we were talking, and he told me about how this his ex-girlfriend, he was talking about how she was raped in a Coughlin chat room, and he says Coughlin was very dismissive and rude, and in saying something like "Who gives a shit" or something like that, and he was pretty upset about it. So I decided that we're gonna make a video against him. And before we made the video, we made an announcement just saying that we were working on it. And for some reason, just Coughlin knowing that we were working on a video against him made him really very nervous, and to the point where he eventually broke down. And actually, when the video came out, it was kind of anticlimactic because he's like, "Oh, that's all you got? Whatever, who cares?" But that lead up, that dread of like, what's the video going to be, was actually worse for him than what the video actually was. I don't know what he thought we were going to say, but he must have been pretty damn worried about it.
All right, I need to ask you something real quick before we continue. Do you want a copy of the video after I've rendered it all together, the segments?
Well, I can just download it off of YouTube if I want.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough. Well, I feel like because we're doing this, I've told everybody that I've interviewed, I feel like because we're doing a collaboration, it is both of our pieces of property.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I just so you know, I am also I do have a little Skype recorder program going too, so I do have a backup audio for this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have of it. I just have the audio, and that was of course just a precaution in case you tried to cut something in a weird way or something like that. I mean, I'm
completely fine with that.
I'm not totally distrusting, but I am a little bit. So
I am completely fine with that. I usually expect anyone out there, whenever they're talking, that they're going to do this because there's so much bullshit that flies on the internet. So I expect it.
I mean, you understand. You do it yourself. So
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, are we still going or?
Yes. I've got questions for you. Like I said, I find you an interesting person. Just because I'm critical doesn't mean I don't think you got your good stuff. All right?
All right. So rock on. Let's do it.
All right. Why do you think that atheists have high substance abuse and suicide rates according to statistics?
I will say there's a quote, which I'll probably butcher here, but they say that saying that a religious man is happier than a non-religious man is kind of like saying that a drunk man is happier than a sober man. But when you're talking about atheists and substance abuse, the statistics right here in front of me, but if they are indeed higher among those segments of society, it's probably because they're, atheism's reality is a little bit bleaker in some ways than the one offered by Christianity. Now, I think it's a matter of how you look at it to an extent. And of course, there's a certain counterculture that's associated with drugs and stuff that atheism might be more cozy with. But, I feel like some people, when they lose their faith in God, they can feel depressed. They can feel like life doesn't have meaning. They can become very nihilistic. I don't view it that way. I actually view it as a relief. I think that if there was a God, that to me would be... I just view him as a cosmic dictator that wants to run my life, which I'm not interested in. So for me, the idea of there being no God is a relief, but for other atheists, it can definitely be a bummer. They think, from going from the worldview of like the creator of the universe cares deeply about me as a person to, wow, the universe is cold and indifferent to my existence. I think that could be depressing, and there could be, drugs used to deal with that sort of thing. And like I said, drugs have always been part of counterculture, and I think right now atheism intersects counterculture because atheism is not yet super mainstream. It's more mainstream than it used to be, but it's not ultra mainstream. And there's plenty of atheists who are not doing drugs. I mean, I don't think Richard Dawkins is freebasing crack or anything. I don't know.
According to statistics in America, the percentage of atheism is actually on the rise. I did do a video a while back where I looked at a wrong website, and it actually said that there was a decline. In fact, it does say there's a 2% rise. So I was wrong about this. But also it says that the suicide rate has went up.
Sure. I don't know that those two things necessarily go hand in hand. I mean, correlation doesn't necessarily always equal causation. But, I would say that if there is a connection there, it's probably to do with that same sort of existential nihilistic despair that we just talked about. But I think that you can be an atheist and not have that attitude. It's just something that maybe you're a little bit more predisposed to at that point.
Okay. This next question, if you need me to clarify it, I'll be more than happy to, but are you against atheist indoctrination of children?
I would say that it depends on what you're considering indoctrination. If the child isn't free to choose to believe in God if they wish, then I would say I'm against that. I believe that if a child wants to believe in God, then that's fine. They should be able to do that. They should be able to have the right to express themselves in that way. But I don't think it's wrong to raise your child as an atheist and to tell them that, some people do believe in God, but we don't. And maybe you will one day, but our family doesn't. And if you want to do research and see for yourself what you believe, I encourage you to do that. But this is my approach to it, and that's the approach I would take if I were a parent, which I don't plan on being a parent. But if I ever found myself in that position, I think that's how I'd raise my kid. I wouldn't pressure them to be I wouldn't raise them with a belief in God. I wouldn't go out of my way to expose them to religion. But if they decided to be religious, I would respect that. I'd probably honestly be a bit disappointed, but the apple sometimes falls far from the tree.
If I'd like to give you an example of something and get your opinion on it. I was very interested in finding out about, whenever I first started out in atheism, there wasn't a whole lot of atheists in my area to learn from or grow from. I was one of those few guys that started up on YouTube, and I was still dealing with hamsters on wheels and cat fucking videos, right?
Sure.
But I looked into people like Madeline O'Hara. I always screw up names, so if I got her name wrong, you can make fun of me later about it. But I'm
terrible with names too, so.
She apparently would tell her son, as you know, she was killed and so most of her family, but there was a child that survived. And the child is now an older man, but he said that she used to tell him, anyone that believes in sky daddies is a stupid fucking idiot, and I don't want them around me, as where he believed in God. And she actually disowned him and said that she never wanted him around again for having these stupid fucking thoughts.
Sure. I think that's too far, obviously. Maybe to some extent she was a product of her time. I don't think there's any reason to be that intolerant. Like I said, I would probably be disappointed, but I don't think I would disown any child unless maybe they were had some really insane beliefs, like, we're going to sacrifice girls to the volcano god or something. But I think that goes too far. And if those stories are accurate, then, I would say that's a deep character flaw in her. I don't really know much about her. She was murdered. I know that she was one of the big first atheist activists in America. But that doesn't mean that she's a perfect person or necessarily a perfect embodiment of atheism, nor am I, nor should any one person be. We're not Christianity. We don't need a Christ. We don't need a figure that we look at and say, well, this is the penultimate version. We're human beings. We have flaws. That should be accepted. But I feel like that does kind of go beyond the pale. It's indeed how it went down.
Okay. All right. Here's my next question for you. You've said in the past that you feel as though you're better than me on politics and marketing yourself in business and YouTube. First of all, I want to tell you I personally agree with you. I agreed with you whenever you said it, and I agree with you now if you still feel that way. But I must ask you, where did you even learn your trade skills and business savvy?
I learned from watching certain films at a young age. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the Star Trek television series, but there's a race in Star Trek called the Ferengi.
Yes. They annoy the piss out of me.
Oh, really? Well, they have this this book of rules called the Ferengi Rules of Acquisition. And I remember at a very young age, my uncle gave it to me, and he said, this is unethical as shit, but if you follow this business model, you will become prosperous. And, some of them I do follow, honestly. I think that actually there are good Ferengi rules of acquisitions, like a wise man can hear profit in the wind and things like that. And I'll actually ruminate on those. And, I got good at business, though. I mean, like, I wasn't always, I got good at it because I did it so much, and I'm still doing it. And I've always tried to diversify my revenue streams as much as possible and be successful. We live in a capitalist society where people are really judged by how much money they can accrue. And I'm very much a rat in that race. And I see through the system that exists to a certain extent, but I participate because it seems better than the alternative of winding up homeless. I'd rather be successful, especially since I think that things are going to be this way whether I'm successful or not. I don't think I do anything too crazy unethical to make money. I mean, I sell some content. Most content I give away for free, and people have to watch ads, and I sell T-shirts, and I sell books, and, I'm actually a producer of things. I don't try to make money like the cocksuckers on Wall Street who just manipulate currencies and, use derivatives and complex mathematical formulas to basically generate money out of air. I actually sell products. I make things. I'm a creator. I feel like I have a pretty decent grasp of that stuff and how these markets work and what people want to see. Obviously, there are people who are better at it than I am. Sexy Phil, whatever. I don't really watch the top YouTubers too much, but there's plenty of them out there that are big and successful and more so than me. I try to do the best I can with what I have, and what I have is I'm a fat guy who likes to rant and is very opinionated, and I think I do as well in that market as anyone ever has, so. Maybe Sam Kinison did better, I don't know.
All right. This next question I have, this is probably the most hardcore question that I have of any of them. The other ones are pretty cut and dry, but they still remain interesting. So I hope that you don't take this sideways. But I did a video a while back called "The Famous Atheist Rips Off the World Christian Church." You said you would report me for misleading title. And I really believe that he might have been an atheist. If I'm wrong, would you correct me, please? And I will never bring this up again.
My father was not an atheist. He was not a Christian per se. He believed in the afterlife. He believed in sort of a mixture of Christianity, Buddhism, and Scientology. He kind of took liberally from those different religious traditions and philosophies, took the things he liked, and kind of made this weird hybrid religion in his head. And, he venerated Christ, or he venerated Solomon. Solomon was his favorite biblical figure. No, he didn't, like, for instance, my father did not believe in evolution. He believed that we were created. There was definitely a religious element there. I don't pretend to fully understand my dad's theology, but he certainly was no atheist.
Okay. I also want to apologize to you for putting that in my title. I wasn't sure about that. And I also want to apologize for hitting below the belt. My hope whenever I did it was not just to point out this information, but it was hoping that maybe the DP would lay off the wife and the kids if I went beyond my policy of don't go after people's family, which I'm not, I don't want to do that again.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, but the main problem I had with the video was not the mischaracterization of my father. It just made it seem like you had a picture of me in the thumbnail and it said atheist and did this thing, and so I kind of felt like you were trying to conflate me with my father's crimes. So I was like, but whatever. I mean, that's all in the past. I don't really hold any ill will towards it now. I mean, I don't really think that you've changed, but maybe you'll prove me wrong on that.
Okay. All right. The next question, like I said, none of them are in that ballpark anymore. So here we go. Why do you?
I am gonna. I don't know how many more there are, but I'm gonna probably want to get going within 15 to 30 minutes. So.
Okay.
I don't know how many you have left, but I'm just giving you a little fair warning that I'm probably going to get going soon because I am starting to Jones for a cigarette a little bit. So.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. If you wanted to get you a cigarette and then return to the interview after 15 minutes, that'd be fine.
No, I think I'm just going to do another I'll do another half hour for you.
Okay, right? Sounds good. We're actually almost done.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just finish up whatever you got then.
Okay. Why use Periscope? You seem to be seeking mental stimulation, but get angry when you discover consistently that some of the people who are watching you are idiots.
I don't think someone's an idiot necessarily just because they act like an idiot on a chat room. Like I said, I think chat rooms lower the collective IQ in the room. But I like Periscope. It's fun. I view it as as much as a hobby. I don't take it very seriously. I don't really get mad. If I have this very cocky, angry attitude on Periscope, and it really is just kind of to get going. Like sometimes if I need to get my brain going a little bit, getting on there and maybe entertaining some people for 10 or 15 minutes will kind of motivate me to get going. It kind of gets those creative juices going a little bit sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I open up Periscope and I immediately just think, why did I even do this? Now I kind of have to do at least something. But, a lot of times it does get that creative energy going and stuff. So I try to do that with it. But I'm not really distressed about, I think the people in here are too dumb or something. I just think it's fun to play that up.
All right. Yeah, I've watched some of your Periscopes. I seen you punching on your own leg after a little while, and I was like, he seems like he's bothered by it.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I'm a very jittery person in general. Like, I don't like sitting still typically. Like, I'm trying to sit stiller for this than I normally am because I don't want to be bouncing all over the screen. But I'm a pretty bouncy person, and you can see I am slowly rocking back and forth here.
If you feel the need to do that, that's fine with me if it relaxes you. Me
bouncing my leg or punching my leg or, even closing my legs and opening them really fast, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just have a lot of nervous energy. It's not really a sign of anger or anything. It's really just I go a little stir crazy sometimes. I have a lot going on in my head. My mind works very fast and very strange, and a lot of times I have to sit there and work to thoughts into normal people English so that people actually kind of understand where I'm coming from. But yeah.
I've watched you off
That's
and
me.
on. I've watched you off and on for 10 years, even whenever you were back in the garage, and I seen all that, and I figured you were just trying to process information very quickly and all that. That was actually one of the questions that some people out there said they'd like me to ask you. I figured that was the case, though. Okay.
Sure.
All right. You have relaxed towards Muslims compared to the way you used to speak of them. Why do you think this is?
I don't really feel like. I mean, if you'll remember, when everyone was freaking out at the Ground Zero Mosque, quote unquote, I was one of the few atheists stood up and said, "This is ridiculous. This is a fake outrage. There's no reason to be upset about this. This is it's silly." And I took on Pat Condell about it and stuff, and So I've never been one of these hardcore anti-Muslim type of people. I feel like I've been fair towards Muslims. I feel like I acknowledge that there is, unfortunately, a correlation between Islam and violence. I think there are some theological issues within the religion that do lend themselves to radicalization. I've never supported something like a Muslim ban, though. I've never believed that we need to rid the country of Muslims or anything extreme like that. I just think we need to be realistic about what causes terrorism, and one of the factors is Islam. And even if that's not politically correct to say, it is true. And I think we can admit that without fear-mongering Muslims. But I think it's a very tough issue. I mean, like I was just talking about this the other day with Paul. Actually, it's very difficult because neither side really feels right to me, but I don't know what the middle ground is. Because I see some people who are virulently anti-Muslim and are just like, we need to stop immigration from these countries and we need to have a Muslim registry and whatever else. Those people definitely seem wrong and they seem fascistic. And then these people who say that Islam is our friend and they've never done anything wrong and Islam is a religion of peace, and that seems like total bullshit as well. Know what the middle ground is there. So I guess that I'm a person in search of what the middle ground is, because neither of those ideas spell with me.
All right, next question. I'm going to try to move along with this so you can get your cigarette and get relaxed. But a couple times in video you have said your brand of atheism. I never understood what that means exactly.
I've said my brand of atheism?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a video, and I know that this one made you blush a while back, and the DP screwed with you on this, Drunken Peasants members, but
Sure.
They forced you to watch the tribute video where you were saying actually very pleasant things about me.
Sure.
You said Brett Keane, he wasn't really my brand of atheism.
Sure. I guess maybe I just meant in terms of presentation, and I feel like I'm not always talking about atheism anymore. In fact, it's pretty rare that I do. But when I do, I think my atheism comes from a place of almost indignation. I look at people who are religious, and I kind of do feel like on some fundamental level they are acting stupid, even if they're not necessarily stupid as people. I think that their beliefs are stupid. So there is an element of outrage there, and I didn't really ever sense that great outrage from you. It seemed like your early videos were almost I'm not saying there was no anger there, but there was a certain brand of detachment, I guess, and you were very much about searching you were more about, I'm going to tear apart the theology of religion, whereas I was more about, I'm going to deconstruct Christian arguments and deconstruct me, because that's what I fundamentally do, is I take things apart and I examine them and I decide for myself whether or not they make sense. I don't think your mind works in that way. I think your analysis was coming from a different place. I don't want to speak to you and your methodology and whatever, but for me, that's how I am. And I don't think that you were doing the same thing. I think you were doing something different in terms of how you were presenting the material.
It's actually a surprisingly hard differentiation to make, but I think you see what I'm talking about.
Right. I get you. All right. To the next one. This is a goofy one. Okay. If you could be an extremely attractive SJW feminist woman for a day, would you do it for the experience and possibly sexual gratification?
I mean, if I was that woman, she wouldn't be an SJW anymore. But yeah, I mean, like just in general, I'd want to. I'd like to see what life is like in another person's body in general. I mean, that's interesting to me. It'd be a totally unique experience. So, I mean, I'd definitely have to do that. I don't know if I'd necessarily have sex in their body, but maybe. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the day would contain? But it'd be interesting to eat foods I like and see if they taste different to this person's tongue. It'd be interesting to see if colors look different to them. It'd be interesting to see if other things about my perception changed. If whatever. I'd like to be able to compare those differences. Like it felt like this being this person, it feels like this being me, and what is the real qualitative difference there if we have the same brain? I think it's interesting stuff. I mean, I definitely enjoy that kind of experience.
Okay. The next question I have for you, and I noticed it in your latest video as well as many videos in the past, you seem like you have gone beyond atheism, that this is not really a topic that is not, it's just, you feel like everything that's been said has been said. Yet, because you are the amazing atheist, it seems like a lot of people kind of trap you and push you and, hey, you're the amazing atheist. Why aren't you making a fucking amazing atheist video? I mean, is that getting annoying or what? Because you got other topics I know that you're into.
I don't really find it annoying. I find that it can be, I feel kind of like bad because I'm not going to make an atheism video just because someone else tells me that that's what they want to see, because I'd just be forcing myself to retread something I've already made before. Like, I feel like the catalog I have on the subject of atheism is pretty thorough. I feel like I've responded to lots of stuff out there, and a lot of the things that are coming out now are just retreads of that. I saw some new arguments on the Escaping Atheism site. I didn't necessarily think they were good arguments. In fact, I thought they were pretty poor, but they were ones I'd never heard before. So I did make a video there, and if I see other new arguments or I have some new ideas about atheism content, then I'm happy to make it. But it's not really where my passion is. I'm not really sure where my passion is right now, though. I'm kind of getting sick of the SJW stuff too. Been talking about politics a lot lately, but I don't really think that that's the direction I want to go in. So I'm kind of experimenting right now. I'm kind of trying to figure out what the next phase is.
Why not go towards your creativity and your art and things like that? That seems to be your true passion.
I think that there's artistry even in what I do now. It's not overtly presented as art, but I do kind of approach it like that and to a certain extent. I kind of view myself the same way George Carlin did. I don't view myself as being on George Carlin's level, but I view my process as being similar, where George Carlin said, not really a stand-up comedian, he was a writer that performed his own material. And I feel like I'm kind of the same thing. I feel like I'm first and foremost a writer. So really the question is, what do I want to write about? Not even necessarily what I want to make videos about, but what do I want to write about? I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm going to keep making politics videos. I'm going to keep making SJW videos. I'm going to keep making some atheism videos probably here and there, and, a few other subjects, and talk about news and events and things. But I do feel like I want to figure out some new place to start drawing from that's going to captivate people. I can already sense that the SJW thing is kind of going the same way that the atheist thing went, which, I feel like it's kind of winding down, and that we need to figure out what the next big thing is. And I want to be the first. I wasn't the first YouTube atheist, but I was in that first crop of YouTube atheists, and I feel like I was actually the first person to start really going after the SJWs. I actually have anti-feminist videos years before they became popular. I don't think I'll ever actually get credit for that, and a lot of people probably are rolling their eyes as I say it, but it is actually true. So I want to also be on the cutting edge of whatever the next big thing is. So I am looking for that.
All right. I got an interesting suggestion for you just to see what you think about this. I have heard that you guys got your new studio going. You're going to be doing the studio bit. Have you thought about filling the walls with art that you've done and then record your stuff like that?
I don't know. We're kind of we're kind of thinking about, we probably will put some stuff behind us that's symbolic of us. I don't know what exactly that's going to be yet. I think we'll just have to stay tuned on that, because I think everyone's going to try to come up with a background that kind of fits their personality, and maybe I will end up using some of my art, or maybe I'll use some other art that encapsulates me, or maybe I'll go some other route with it. I don't know.
Okay. It'd be interesting. I think you got some neat stuff. My next question has to do with something that you said earlier that didn't sit right. You said that you used to put some videos of drunken peasants on your big channel, but actually ended up losing subs off of this. I don't understand. Why didn't the subscribers just go watch another video of yours as opposed to unsub over a DP video? I mean, it just seems like it takes a moment for them just to go look at something else if they don't want to see that.
When you have as many subscribers as I do, the strange patterns of behavior people have, and I mean, I'll put videos out there and I'll be like, this video is going to lose, and I just know it will. Like, even before I release it, I know, like, this is one of the ones that some people are going to leave. And, you see that happen. And every day I lose subscribers. Every day. I mean, usually I gain more than I lose, but every day I lose. That's just part of the YouTube game. And I think a lot of people, when they're used to me sitting there posting 5 to 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of video and a 30-minute video or something, I think that suddenly they're being 3 times a week, there's a 2.5-hour video on my page. I think some of them, probably the ones who are not really huge fans, but maybe just casual viewers, are like, fuck this guy. Who cares? I'm done with him anyway. I haven't watched one of his videos in forever. Now he's posting all this annoying shit. So whatever. I'm just done with him. And that happens, and that's cool, and I don't really care. The thing that sucked about that was just that I was forced into a position by Tommy Sotomayor where I'm losing subscribers on my main channel. And, we the same thing happened in reverse on the DP channel. We started putting up shortened DP clips, and people were like, fuck this, you're spamming my feed with clips, and a bunch of people unsubscribed from that. So we have a channel that usually posts short content that people unsubscribe when I posted long content, and we have a channel that usually posts long content that people unsubscribe when we posted short content. So it's just like, people don't like when the established pattern of what they're used to suddenly changes, and a lot of people freak out and, just act like babies, I guess.
Well, I don't understand why they couldn't just say, you know what, today is not going to be an Amazing Atheist video, it's going to be Amazing Atheist with his friends. Why do they got to sit there and just totally do that?
Honestly, I don't know. Okay. I totally understand what you're saying, and I don't really understand why people would unsubscribe for it, but I've just seen it so many times. It's just part of the behavior of YouTubers.
Okay. All right. My next question's a little bit rough, and not as rough as the stuff I've already asked. But do you ever feel like people are nice to you, or they act cool to you just because you're the Amazing Atheist, not for who you actually are?
I don't care. I am the Amazing Atheist. That of my life. If people are nice to me because of that, I mean, sure. If I met Stephen King, I'm gonna treat him nice because he's Stephen King, and I've read his books, and I respect the work he's done, and he's a famous guy, and he's I don't know. You're gonna give deference to that person. If I'm sitting in a diner and some random guy walks in, I'm probably not going to look twice. But if Sean Penn, shit, that's fucking Sean Penn. So, I don't really view it as being that bad of a thing. People know me. I'm preceded by my reputation, and some people treat me good because of that reputation, and some people treat me like shit because of that reputation. I guess it just depends on the point of view they're coming from. But The Amazing Atheist is who I am. That's something I've built for 10 years, and I'd assume that probably the judgments that they base around it are accurate to their personality. I think that if someone watches my videos and hates me, they're probably not going to like me just because they meet me in person. But maybe they would. I don't know.
The reason why I ask this question is because I am convinced 100% that if Brett Keane wasn't on YouTube, I didn't do this stuff, I don't think a lot of people, if they seen me walking on the street, they'd give a flying fuck about what I have to think or see or even give me the opportunity. But because I've made a little bit of an image on YouTube, now they pay attention. That's just how I feel, and I was wondering if you identify in any way.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. It doesn't really bother me.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I got a couple more for you, and then you can go get that cigarette. I apologize for holding you out on that. I know what it's like not to have a smoke.
Oh, not at all. Not at all, Brett. That's fine. It's been a pretty good interview, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe you'll end up cutting some version of it that I don't like or whatever, but I'm pretty sure you're just going to put the whole thing up, so whatever. We'll just see.
I think that it's all fine. I think that you've got your audio recording over there, so you know I ain't going to goof you.
That's true. I do have a little insurance, I guess.
There you go. All right. Now,
trust but verify. Trust but verify.
There you go. Got to do what you got to do. My question for you is this. What is your thoughts on cutters, people who commit suicide, and also if you had a DP fan who brought this up to you, what would you say to them?
I've known a lot of people who cut. It's a psychological condition. They feel like the pain that they're actually putting themselves in distracts them from the pain that's inside. I don't pass judgment on that. I don't think that it's a healthy behavior, but not all the behaviors I engage in are healthy. I'm about to go smoke a cigarette. I don't really know if I can go and smoke a cigarette and then turn and say, well, you cut yourself, so whatever. I mean, honestly, the long-term repercussions of cutting yourself are probably less severe than the long-term repercussions of smoking cigarettes all the time. Destructive behaviors. As for suicide, I mean, I have mixed feelings on suicide. I think that on some level I'm very libertarian-minded, and I think people have a right to end their lives if they see fit. But then there's another part of me that really views suicide, and I know that this is a very controversial opinion to some people, but I do still view suicide as an act of cowardice. I understand that some people say that it's actually a brave act because you have to overcome your survival instinct, but I don't really view it that way. I view it as people who are just so overwhelmed by their own problems that they can't take it anymore and they have to end it. I feel like it makes more sense to end your problems than it does to end yourself. And if you're too weak for that struggle, I think that it's you would take the coward's way out. Now, if someone has actually something wrong with them that can't be overcome, then fine. And I honestly, maybe I feel, when it comes to suicide, maybe if someone's like 50 or something, or they've lived their life and they've tried to get it in order and it just never worked, commit suicide, like Hunter S. Thompson or something like that. I don't really maybe look at that as negatively as I do like some bitchy 18 to 30-year-old ending it all. Because their girlfriend left them, or just because I'm depressed, I'm going to kill myself, or whatever. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I really do.
All right, kind of
was there another one in there? I think it was cutting suicide. Was there one other thing?
There actually is something that you'll probably end up answering within this question. You spoke of, I've listened to a lot of your videos. I'm not quite sure exactly which one this was, but you had said that when you were going to school as a young man, you were targeted. There were people who gave you shit. There were people who were mean and cruel to you and all that. Why do you think they picked you out for?
I stand out in a crowd. I'm tall. but I'm also fat and I am socially awkward. I am clearly uncomfortable in crowds of people. I'm a strange person. When people actually do talk to me, I say things that a lot of people don't really, I think, get. And at the time, I was constantly had my nose buried in a book, and I never talked to anyone. In fact, people would talk to me, and I would just be silent because I didn't want to interact with other people. So there was a lot of things that I did and a lot of ways I looked, and I didn't shower very much back then, so I looked pretty greasy, and my clothes were rarely washed. I was very slovenly. This was when I was going through my depressive phase. I still have depression, but I've overcome it to a large extent, or at least come up with ways of dealing with it. So I guess I got singled out for some of those reasons. For me, was ever too bad because my size did kind of protect me. No one really wanted to get me too angry, but I was very sensitive to. I didn't even want to be talked to. So a lot of times, like even if someone wasn't really persecuting me, I felt persecuted just because they kept trying to speak to me, and I didn't really want their presence around me. Very averse to human contact at that time. Much better about that now, by the way. Don't really have the same social anxiety level I used to. But at the time, I think that there was a standoffishness to me, and I stand out in a crowd. So it's probably a combination of those factors.
This next question's kind of on the same lining. Have you ever had someone that you love or care about abandon or betray you or just do something horrible to you and expect you to just fucking take it?
Luckily, no one that was ever too close to me ever did something that was really despicable like that. I mean, obviously, I've had issues with family members and stuff, but I can't think of anything that rises to the level you're talking about. Everyone I was ever in a relationship with shot pretty straight with me. Probably the worst thing I can think of was my first girlfriend. The way she broke up with me. The way she actually broke up with me was not too bad, but some of the things she did afterwards were pretty reprehensible, I feel like. She, destroyed or at least stole. I don't really know what the fate of everything was, but a lot of my stuff was at her place, and I did not get all of it back, and many of the things that I didn't get back were very important to me. A stuffed animal I'd had since childhood, a book that was a gift, a really old antique book that was a gift from someone that was close to me, a lot of things like that. So being stolen from someone that I loved, I guess, was probably the worst. But other than that, I really can't think of anything too severe that anyone ever did to me that was really close to me. I guess we could talk about Case, the time that he went a little crazy and held a gun to my head. But that was I kind of knew he was that way, though. I mean, I knew Case was a little crazy. That was sort of one of the things that attracted me to him as a friend. Was I knew that he was a loose cannon. He was kind of an edgy guy, and. So I wasn't really too surprised by what happened. I probably should have been more wise. I don't know what about me at the time just wanted someone like that, but I kind of feel like maybe I was too repressed and closed into myself, and I wanted someone who was like this extreme extrovert personality and stuff. So I didn't really feel deeply betrayed by what happened. It almost seemed very predictable. It seemed very in line with what I thought about Case. So I'm gonna go with the girlfriend who stole some of my stuff that was important to me. I mean, the thing about that is it doesn't really meet the criteria either, though, because after that we totally went our separate ways and never talked to each other again. Whereas you're talking about someone who actually did something horrible and then expects forgiveness and just whatever.
Right.
But I can't think of anyone that was that close to me that did that.
I have talked to him about that because that was something that bothered me about the gun thing. Clearly, I pointed that out in video, and he said that he was an idiot for doing it, and it was one of the stupidest ass things he's ever done in his life. I don't know if he's ever told you that or you knew that. He did not tell me to tell you this. I'm just saying our conversation about it. All right, just a couple more questions, and then I'm going to have you go get your smoke, bro. All right?
All right. I'm going to hold you that. Two more questions.
All right. Well, we should probably put this out of the way right here. Do you believe that I'm actually insulting Scotty by saying that he lives in your shadow?
I think that's for Scotty to determine. I don't feel like Scotty lives in my shadow. I feel like a lot of the things that I've done, he's helped me to build. He might not get all the same glory that I do, but he's been very instrumental in helping me create the things I've created and running a lot of the back-end stuff that leaves me free to focus on the creative aspect. And that's not to say that Scotty doesn't have a creative streak too, because a lot of great ideas have come from Scotty. So yeah, I mean, I view us as a team, and I would say that he's the silent partner in The Amazing Atheist, and he's a little bit more featured on the Drunken Peasants front end of things. But he runs a lot of the back end stuff there too. So you know, Scotty's a valuable asset. I don't think that I don't view him as living in my shadow. I don't think he views himself as living in my shadow. I don't know that he's necessarily insulted by it. I don't know.
All right. I do got to ask you. I got to plead with you. Can we do two more questions? Because I do
two more.
Two
more.
All right.
What you get? Two more.
Oh, jeez, this vapor's kicking
We're
my...
both coughing now.
Yeah, the vapor's kicking my ass. All right. I noticed that you left comments on Colossal is Crazy YouTube channel a while back. In his video, The Amazing Atheist documentary, he refers to you and Holly as sea cows at timestamp 6 minutes and 39 seconds. Are you sure you didn't come up with the manatee joke from non-believers who insulted you and this sweet girl?
No, I mean, I came up with a manatee joke because there was a video where you were laying flat in your bed and there was kind of a blue filter on you, and you really did kind of look like a manatee underwater. And it just kind of like, wow, he looks like a fucking manatee. And that's where that came from.
Okay.
But as far as that Colossal is Crazy video goes, I just want to say that I think that's a great video. I understand that it was insulting to me, but I have a sense of humor about myself. I thought that it was pretty fair. I wasn't personally insulted by it. I don't think he maybe should have brought Holly into things, but she's a really nice person, doesn't really deserve that sort of stuff. But you know, I guess that she invited it into her life by dating me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great video. Honestly, it was well edited and well presented, and I actually was very complimentary towards it. And I thought he was a cool guy, and you know, we kind of talked a little bit. Me and Colossal is Crazy, and he said he had some problems with me, but mostly he said, like, you know, I agree with you on a lot of things, and I don't really think you're a bad guy or anything. I just don't like the e-bagging and stuff like that. And I said, well, you know,
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
One more. Final question.
The last question, and I do actually have a lot of questions, but I understand that we've done this for a long time, and you're not obligated to do this, so it's appreciated that you're even doing it in the first place. The last...
if I give a short enough answer, maybe we could do a couple more. I don't know.
All right. The last question is, everyone grows old, and fans are fickle and tend to seek out something new all the time. One of your fears, according to your own videos in the past, is fading out, becoming irrelevant. What becomes of TJ then if that were to happen?
I don't really know. I don't really know what would happen at that point. I mean, I'm trying to make enough money that I can make investments and things beyond this, but I feel like that's one of the great motivating factors that keeps me constantly reinventing myself. I mean, there's a reason why I'm still around. Many of the people from the early days of YouTube are just gone, or you know, have faded into obscurity. I think it's because I've constantly reinvented myself. I've constantly tried to stay, if not ahead of the curve, then at least on the curve. Or is it curb? But you know, I definitely I try to stay ahead of things. You know, I try to be on the cutting edge. Just like earlier, I was talking about how I'm looking things dry because I feel it drying out, and I'm like I'm already putting out feelers out there, trying to figure out what's the next big topic that we're going to. So I'm always looking for that, and you know, I feel like as long as I'm constantly attentive to my audience, and as long as I am constantly reinventing myself and pushing myself to improve, I think that I'll be fine. But if I do fade into obscurity or whatever, then you know, I'll figure that out when I figure it out. I don't really have a plan for it. I don't plan for failure. I plan for success.
Okay. Do you have the energy for one more? You said if we were quick.
Sure. I'm gonna keep. I'll tell you when to stop. We'll go a little longer if you want.
Okay. All right. This next thing is going to be self-depreciating for me. All right. I already feel a long time ago, due to changing from atheism over to being a theist and believing in God, I've believed for a long time atheism has taken over YouTube. I have felt like I have become irrelevant, insignificant in a lot of different ways on YouTube. I am admitting and conceding to that. I wonder, though, why it is that you approached me or even came at me, because if you hadn't, I wouldn't have got any more views. I probably would have disappeared. Why did you bother with a piece of shit like Brett Keane for?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, you know, I joined YouTube because I saw your videos, and, you know, part of it was I felt like I do better than you, but part of it was I genuinely did like the stuff you were doing, too. I just thought, like, I could do it better. And that's why I jumped on this bandwagon. And, you know, you see the videos I've made in the early days where I was praising you. So it's kind of fascinating to me that there was someone that I was so enamored with, that I thought was such a great video maker, who later on kind of found herself at odds on a number of issues, and there was a lot of antagonism and acrimony and stuff. I think there's a fascinating thing there. But, you know, I feel like... there is something kind of interesting about I won't even just say kind of interesting. There's something interesting about Brett Keane. We feature you a lot, and people are interested in what we have to say about what you're saying, and I don't really understand it. I mean, I understand it for me, and I understand it for Paul because of our history. I don't necessarily understand it with all these new people who don't really know the whole story and stuff. I don't really understand what their fascination with it is, but there does seem to be something there. There's something that's deeply fascinating to people, to the point where if we do a show where we don't cover you, people kind of like, whoa, where's the Brett Keane segment? So I don't really know. I don't really know what the source of that deep fascination is. I guess there is some sort of ineffable quality that makes people kind of fascinated by you. And, you know, maybe it's not always in a good way, but you definitely have some form of magnetism, some form of charisma.
I appreciate that, man. You don't. I know that you don't have to say any of that kind of stuff. You're not obligated to. But I
don't have to say anything. I don't want to.
I
just want to be honest with you, Brett. I mean, you know, I stand by a lot of the negative things I've said about you. Pretty much all of them, really. But you know, I'm not angry at you. I don't hate you. I don't sit around seething about you or anything. I just I feel like there's some things you've done that are wrong, and there's some things that I think you're going to probably continue to do wrong. But you know, I don't hold a grudge, and I don't believe that it's impossible for people to change. So you know, we'll just see. I'm going to keep my Brett Keane saga, and we'll see where it goes. You know, I'll answer one more.
All right. Well, let's make sure it's a good one then. Let's make sure it's a good one.
Pick ones you got left.
All right. I'll ask you just straight out a basic kind of religious question, because people are going to wonder, why is this damn theist not asking this atheist a question or this? But the question is, do you actually believe in the possibility of a God?
You know, I do. I think that there's, you know, I'm not going to discount any possibility. I believe there's a possibility that we're all living in a simulation. I believe there's a possibility that we were created by aliens. I believe there's a possibility of any number of crazy things. It's a possibility that I'm just a brain in a jar being fed inputs. Reality might not be even what I think it is. The same could be true for you or anybody. You know, I'm not closed-minded to any possibility. I just think that the evidence has to be there. I have to be able to have some reason compelling to believe the things I do, or I'm not going to believe them. I don't believe that there's a God, and I'm pretty sure, in fact, that there isn't. But I'm not totally closed off to it. I'd never have claimed to be. There's always going to be an element of agnosticism there. I can't prove one way or the other. And I don't think most atheists claim they can.
All right, man. I appreciate you doing this interview. I think that it's been incredible. I think that you've given some excellent answers, and I hope that people go over and show you some support and love for that. And I am going to work on some of my asshole stuff. You've answered a lot of things I've always wondered. Some things I've wondered for many years, and I think that, at least for me, there's closure here.
Cool. Well, if you want to do this again sometime, I mean, not anytime soon, but you know, if you want to do this again in a few months, depending on what happens between now and then, I maybe wouldn't be opposed to doing it again. Thank you for having me on, Brett. I appreciate you being gracious. I appreciate you not going out of your way to bring up too much of the stuff that we've already covered in past discussions. Honestly, I enjoyed myself, but you gave me a chance to talk about myself, and I am pretty egotistical, so it's always fun for me to do that. Thanks for having me on, and you have a good evening.
Can you do me one favor?
Yes, what do you need? Can
you let Scotty know I would still like to interview him if he is interested, and give him a little bit of that glory that you said that he deserves?
You know, I feel like Scotty's probably not going to want to do that, but I can run it by him. You know, I said I'm not the kind of person who holds a grudge. Scotty definitely is, but maybe, I don't know. Honestly, I'll ask him for you. I'll relay the message, and maybe he'll want to do it. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
All right. You have a good night, Brett. Peace.
You too.
My name is Dawn Keane. Please check out our new channel, God TV Radio International Network. Also, check out our gaming channel, Games You Love. You can follow us on Google+, Twitter, and Facebook. Links are in the description. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and rate. Have a good day.